song is called Repent. And I want you to ask yourself, what if a woman apologized to you? What if she begged you to forgive her? What would you do? How would you react? It's that red pill. Let's go.
Every day I send a prayer up into the sky, waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Sorry, ma, you done hit the wall twice. Now you trying to go back and make everything right. Somebody should have told you that you have one life, but you live your whole life like you have one night. Women age faster than men, that's a fact, but you think that you got 9 lives like a cat. 20 years old, looking 40 in the neck, but your body stretched out from having different type of sex. Gave the good guy everything at your best. Now you trying to give the good guy everything left. Ain't nobody hanging old trophies on the shelf, so you gotta go and stand in line and wait till you're next. The game has changed, now you're less valuable. The old guys had you, the young boys had you too. Now I'm just looking, what changed in your attitude? Now I'm just looking, what changed in your attitude?
Every day I send a prayer up into the sky, waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ.
Waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Dear Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to do. You hoes wanna live a lie cause you can't handle the truth. I may have a good heart, but I ain't a nice dude. I bleed red, not blue, so don't get shit confused. See, I've been through this shit like every day. Yeah, you may look good, but don't believe half the shit you say. These games they play is like no other. Screaming daddy during sex cause you grew up without a father. Smashing without a rubber and become a single mother. Then get older wondering why you can't even find a lover. Hot girl summer, that's all you female speaking. Then that shit overly repeated. Your ego's inflated and heated, so beat it. And don't forget that wall is undefeated. Yeah, cause we see it coming a mile away. Man, age like wine, females like milk and decays. It's G-Money and Anthony Spade. Have a nice day. Cheers.
Every day I send a prayer up into the sky, waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ.
Waiting for an answer. Maybe the Lord will forgive me of my sins.
Anthony Spade, Red Pill Music. I'm about to go in. I stay focused by blocking out the world. Too many complications with the modern day girl. I'd rather stack money taking trips around the world. Part introvert, expert, an expert at living skirts. I stay low key, but when I stunt, I can make it hurt. I go berserk, but then the girls, they wanna call me jerks. They get mad, cause I'm the one that can make them squirt. I stop they flirt, send them back, that really make them hurt. My name is Anthony Spade, the Red Pill Coach. Teach you how to get that money and not get ghosts. Content with the good game, yeah, I got both. But the girls gotta be careful before they get close. The bad guy, cause I never lie. Got an alibi, I'm by myself fighting agendas, so I never die. Everybody claiming they alpha, till you see them cry. Supposed to be stacking your money, but all you do is buy.
Ain't too many niggas out here that can do the dirt. They just wanna catch you lacking, put you on the shirt. I made it happen on my own, I got to the work. And I can't fuck with nobody, I'm an introvert. I can't fuck with nobody, I'm an introvert. I ain't trusting nobody, I'm an introvert. I made it happen on my own, I get to the work. And I can't fuck with nobody.
Comment, like. Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Today we're gonna be talking about
Feel me in the darkness.
you being somebody in the dark.
My shadows, they follow you like an accomplice.
And you think somebody don't see you during the day.
Lost all of your dreams, the night is heartless.
In order for you to take this red pill,
My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you.
you have to
in the
face the truth.
darkness.
And That's what you're gonna get today. Listen to the whole song, like at the end. Turn it up. I'm about to go in. In the game of life, there's no rules. Beta males that now became cool. New fools in alpha male schools. Just trying to learn these new jewels of what it takes in life. You want to make it right, but can you sacrifice before you take the flight? But can you grind at night until you get it right? Make the sacrifice until you change your life. First, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror. Turn the phone off, you can see things clear. Once you stay focused, then a dream will appear. Don't pay attention to the things that you hear. You gotta do your own work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Grinding ain't hard once you dig through your own dirt. Gotta do the research, put in the effort. 2 minute experts giving out lectures. Gotta break the mold that was under your brain. Most people live life for the fortune and fame. Once you red pill, there's nobody to blame. It's too many lames that be giving out game. Yeah, it's a shame cause you staying the same. Got a lot of knowledge with no woman to tame. Wanna be alpha but can't stay in your frame. The #1 coach now, Anthony Spade. See, what you gotta understand is when you run around acting alpha and then you go home and look in the mirror and see a beta, you only setting yourself back. Wake up.
Feel me in the darkness.
You gotta face yourself, man.
My shadows, they follow you.
Once you learn to face yourself, then life will change and you're your own king.
Your dreams, the night is hard.
How you gonna be a king and you're always trying to follow somebody? You're always trying to prove somebody something.
Shadows, they follow you in the darkness.
You woke, but you ain't waking up. How you woke and you ain't waking up? You just woke enough to sit online and talk. You woke enough to debate people, but you ain't woke enough to chase your own dream. This is Anthony Spade. Hit that subscribe button. We're back. Let's get those likes up. I want to welcome everyone to the Anthony Spade Reactions channel. You're now tuning into the Sigma Nation podcast, where we represent Sigma males that are chasing their dreams and they're working on self-development to be a stronger version of themselves. That's what we represent over here. So if you're not looking to chase happiness with your life, let's go ahead and go to another channel right now. You can go ahead and click off. If you're a bot and you're just waiting for the perfect opportunity to troll, you can go ahead and get off now. I will be hurting your feelings today with truth. I will rip your heart out. Because we're going to be breaking down today why more men are choosing not to have children. We will be breaking down society. We're going to start off by first reacting to the actor Seth. He said he got his happiness from not having children. I agree with him. I don't have any children as well. And I think that in the environment that we live in, it explains itself. But before I get started, let's go ahead and get some likes. Tell me how the microphone look. Tell me how the quality of the camera is. Make sure everything is good. Give a shout out to Kevin Odom. Keandre is definitely in the building. Omar's in the building. Xavier's in the building. Aaron M is in the building as well. Once I get started with the lecture and we get going, I would not be looking at the chat as much. The only way to get my attention will be to donate. And if you don't donate, all I ask is that you hit the like button. I do go live every day around the same time. Majority of the time, it's either going to be 12:30 or 1 o'clock. So if this is your first time tuning in, just expect the consistency to stick around. So you might as well go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. But today we will be talking about why men are choosing not to have children. I have a load of reaction videos that I want to react to as well. All right, we got a couple reaction videos. Hold on, let me clear it out. We got Colin Kaepernick on the reaction videos. We got Charleston White on the reaction videos. We got 31-year-old lady. We ain't gonna even watch that. Just another teacher sleeping with a student. We got a zoo trainer. We got to get rid of that. Ain't reacting to that. We're not reacting to the goofy girls. And we got a reaction from the show somebody told me right now, at Whatever, the Whatever podcast. Got a little reaction to that, but we mainly got a reaction to Seth Rogen and his wife. So, save all your questions to the end. We have 86 likes with 102 people in here. Save all your questions to the end, but if you want your questions answered immediately, donate to the channel and make sure you put your question inside of your super chat. Even put a Q in there. So I know, like, all right, I gotta pay more attention to it. But it looks like, how are we looking here? How far are you guys behind? No one's giving me a 1 yet for the volume? How do we sound and look? All right, we sound good on the 1? All right, we sound good. Now y'all starting to come in. What about the quality? Is the quality of the camera good? Looking like it's all right. Looks like my camera keeps zooming in and out. I may be good to go. All right, we getting ready to get started with the show. Before we get started with the show, I'll answer one question. First person to put their question in right now, I'm gonna answer it. Xavier is in the building. He comes through with the $4.99. He's the first one of the day. He says, salute, my friend. Keep up the good work. And we're going to give you one of these since you're the first donator. Y'all put some respect on Xavier's name for being the first donator. Let's see who can trump him today. All right, before I get started, I would take one question. The first person to put the question in, I'm going to answer it. Then we're going to get started with the reactions. And then we're going to go into the lecture while we allow the room to fill up. All right, Ray James, you got to learn this time. You got to put a Q in front of the question. Can't answer it. First person with the Q. Let's get the first person with the Q. What's my headphones? HD, I don't know. I done had these for so long. I know they were expensive. Question, what's your headphones? Oh, okay, he got the first question. It's going to be HD 280 Pro synthesizer. A synthesizer headphone. The number is HD 280 Pro synthesizer headphones. And guess what? That was the question. So now we're going to get started with the lecture. We got some new sound effects this time. I got this. You know, we're going to put that down. I have this. That's when I'm looking for stuff. We got this. We got this. And the regular stuff.
Sweet.
When you come with 50 or better, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get the baller alert. Anything less than $50, you get this. Call it a day. But if you donate back to back, then we come with the. If I see your donations have added over 50, once you go over the 50, then we come in with.
Sweet.
All right. So now what we're getting ready to do is get the show started, get me warmed up before I go into the lecture. I still got a little bit of time before I get into the lecture. You guys make sure that you're hitting that like button when you come in. And we do got some regulars. Jared, 20-year recovery, is definitely in the building. What other moderators are in here? Kevo, Kevin Uno, he's a member. All right, I like just that. And Keandre. All right, we're still warming up. Everybody eventually come in over time. We got Germany in the building. Big shout outs, man. All right, let's get over to the reaction side of things. Now, let's see what Colin Kaepernick. Some people in society. Hold on, some people in society are just goofballs. And one of them is definitely going to. We got Air Max 29 is definitely in the building. Stop playing with. Put some respect on that man's name. That he's normally the first one in here that donates first. Y'all put some respect on that man's name. To Air Max 29. We got Marco Fozon in. We got Be Cautious. Black Honey with the $2. He says, "Let's go, Anthony." All right. First video we got going on here is coming from Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick accuses, oh man, we got Angel Torres coming like that.
Sweet.
Big shout outs to Angel Torres. Appreciate your hard work, big dog. We really appreciate that around here. And I remember you from yesterday. Yesterday you came in with a little bit. So today we're going to give you another. And because I do remember you. I do. And Torres, guess what, bro? We just got you just got yourself a moderator. The newest moderator is going to be Angel Torres. All right, everybody give it up for Angel Torres. The newest moderator coming in with the $50. That's on top of what he was donating yesterday. All right. Jared, 20-year recovery. Big shout outs, dude. Okay. We have Colin Kaepernick accuses his white adoptive parents problematic upbringing and perpetrating racism. Get out of here. Let's get to it.
What do home service pros love about Jobber?
Jobber payments is awesome.
Jobber payments.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Growing up, I was
who's spreading a message of empowerment in his new graphic novel, Change the Game, written with author and University of Chicago professor Eve L. Ewing.
I love how you depict yourself in this book, not as some big shot hero, but as a shy, insecure high schooler like we all were. I mean, I'm speaking for you, but...
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Growing up, I was I think still am a pretty introverted person. I hope it's true to form, and that's just kind of how I navigate the world.
It's his true high school coming-of-age story, his journey embracing his blackness, despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents love me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit of armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted cornrows to match. He's getting what roles, his mom asked?
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look like a little thug.
Your mom. Said that to you.
Yeah. And those become spaces where it's like, okay, how do I navigate this situation now? But it also has informed why I have my hair long today.
The grown-up version of Eve wanted to go back in time and give young Colin a lot of hugs.
Somebody told me no sound. Big shout out. Jared, 20-year recovery. I keep forgetting I got to click stuff. All right.
And I was really moved and saddened by the level of kind of self-awareness that he had to develop at a very young age without a lot of guidance.
The former NFL quarterback who once led the 49ers to the Super Bowl,
touchdown, Colin Kaepernick,
was known in high school for his baseball. The pitcher even had major league interest, but he bucked public pressure and followed his heart to the gridiron.
There were a lot more black people in football that I was like, I found some community here.
Do you still want to play football professionally?
Absolutely. I woke up this morning before our events, trained 5-6 days a week. I'm still up at 4:30. I go get my training in. That passion is still there, and the ability is still there.
What I don't like about Colin Kaepernick, it's like, bro, you keep stretching this out. He took that knee that somebody told him to do because he was sitting on the bench. A veteran says, hey, just take a knee. Don't sit on the bench if you're not going to stand. They took it and made it into this whole entire event, and he's still out here seeking attention. One thing that I feel is holding black people back is when they see other cultures like him. He's another culture. He may have a black culture, but this is constantly putting racism inside of people who really wasn't seeing racism. I don't think he represents the average black dude that's walking around here. And I think that's kind of like what keeps a lot of black people held back, is that there's always something about racism that's being brought up that reignites the feeling all over again and doesn't really allow anyone to heal. You can't heal and create new dreams if you're still focused on nightmares. And right now, the community is always focusing on nightmares and cannot move forward when you have tons and millions of black people who can move forward, but the culture itself doesn't, because you always have someone like this who's trying to profit off of victimization. At this point, with the millions that he's made, the 10 million that he got, I still wouldn't be trying to use racism to make money off of, because technically that's what he's doing. He's using racism to get these interviews, to sell his books, to get his HBO show, to get his Netflix show. And it's like, brother, you don't even represent the blacks that are out here. You've already made it. You got rich. You're a multimillionaire. When blacks become multimillionaires, they don't care about nobody calling them a nigger. They're like, nigga, please, I'm richer than the person calling me a nigger. Why would I care what they have to say? But to the poorer person, it gives them hope, like someone speaking for them, but it doesn't give them inspiration to want to be anything. It keeps them inside of a victimized mindset. I don't like what Colin Kaepernick has turned all of this into. I really don't, because I do feel like he's lived a pretty good life. He's been rich for a very long time, and no one knew for him hanging out with niggas. Ain't nobody expect that when he was in the league. He started taking on the black race and speaking up for the black race after this knee situation. So if you want to ask somebody who is culture vulturing, I do believe that Kaepernick, in my heart, is culture vulturing right now to get money, to get the blacks to feel sorry for him. Angel Torres came in as a member. Big shout outs, my dude. Big shout outs, especially after he gave that donation. We'll go ahead and give you one of these. Give him one of those on Angel Torres becoming a member. But yes, I do think that Colin Kaepernick is a culture vulture and has no relatability to the average black person out here. But what he's doing what everybody does. You go over to the other side, and then when you make the other side mad, you try to come back to the black community to help you out. We've seen Kanye do this. We've seen a whole bunch of others do this as well. Al Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson. You've seen so many of these people go over to the other side. As soon as something happens to them, they want to come back and leverage the victimization and weakness of black people to create a crowd. I don't like that, because I think that is setting people back. At the same time, yes, this guy is a clown, and we're going to have to give him the... Sorry, homeboy, you didn't get through on Sigma Nation. We don't get it. He's definitely going down as the clown of the year. Let's get to the next reaction. All right, this is going to be Charleston White. In the interview says that Jay Morant pulling a gun. He's going to speak on Jay Morant pulling a gun. Let's get to it.
What do home service pros love about Jobber?
Jobber payments is awesome.
Jobber payments.
I don't know if you guys ever paid attention to Charleston White. One thing about Charleston White, man, he trolls to get your attention, but he has a good message underneath everything that he says. But I think a lot of people look at his trolling, they look down on him. But once he pulls you in and he got you paying attention to him, he be saying some real shit, man. I ain't gonna even lie to you. He always be speaking that real shit. Let's get to it.
Now I gotta ask you, you have a young kid in Job Rant, man, worth $300 million.
Yeah, I hope we go jail.
Big shout outs to the regular dude. Regular dude said, what's going on? Enjoying my day off. Big shout outs, bro. How's the weather looking out there in Cincinnati? I know right now Pittsburgh is kind of cold. We just had a little bit of snow, so I'm pretty sure you guys have it too. Regular dude is definitely in the building. This is a regular. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Mind you, he's from Memphis.
Yeah, I hope he go to jail.
He's in Memphis.
I hope he go to jail.
Do you feel like he might be battling something personally though?
Nah. He doing
brandishing the gun on live?
He doing what every nigga like him that want to do that didn't get to live that life. They want to live it now. We all want. It's just like a woman who never got to hoe. When she get a divorce and in that late age in life, she start hoeing because she never got it out of her.
Ouch.
She start partying, going out. She start living her truth. Well, that's a hoe.
Real threesomes.
Whenever you catch a woman how she living her truth, that's a bitch want to be free as a hoe.
I'm living my truth.
Whenever you hear a woman say, I'm just living my truth, that's a bitch want to be free as a hoe, but don't know how to hoe and sell pussy.
I have to agree with him with that. That's the only thing that allows a woman to go out here and be liberated is her saying, I want to live in my truth. I want to be free. I don't want to be in a relationship. And he's absolutely right. It's because she never had a chance to go through that phase. And she thinks that she's missing out on something because she's hearing about the other girls that are doing it. A lot of women who get married and fall in love at an earlier age and then they get a divorce, those divorcees around 40, 50 whose kids are grown, those women be loose. And you see a lot of those girls hanging around the gym. So he is dropping straight game. Whenever they're just telling you, I want to be free, I don't want to be in a relationship, that means that they just want to go around and sleep around because they've probably been tied down to the same dude for a long period of time. You see a lot of that in the Western world, but it's almost non-existent outside the United States. A lot of these women, the older they get outside the United States, the more they want to be in a relationship. You have to understand, you don't see 45, 50-year-old women bragging about their purses, bragging about independence, bragging about the car they drive, bragging about their education. You don't see that. That's a young girl's game and early 30s game. When women get around 40, 45, 50 years old, they're realizing, like, I have to find somebody to live and die with. That's why I don't understand these younger women. Big shout outs to regular dude, came back in with the $2. He says it's clear skies, 47 degrees out. He got on the hoodie. Big shout outs, dude. We got my man Faven Music with the $2. He says facts. But yes, older woman in her 45, 50 years old, she's not going to be bragging like a early 30-year-old because she knows exactly what it is. A woman, this is when they really wake up. When they get to the point of their life where they're single, they're sitting at home, they're browsing through the internet, they done been in and out of chat rooms, and they realize they by themselves. They start and look back at their life, and they're going to realize everybody I had sex with, every man I had sex with was a bum. Every dick that I ever sucked was a bummy dick. They're going to lose respect for themselves, and they're going to realize I had standards that I could never achieve. And typically, that's when women wake up the most.
I'm gonna say it again. That's a bitch that want to live free as a hoe, but don't know how to hold or sell pussy. So this little boy here is no different. He like Suge Knight. Suge Knight never got to be a Paru. Suge Knight never got to gangbang. It was Suge Knight cousins who lived in Compton who was the real niggas. So that's why when Suge Knight finally got the money, he went and got him a red suit. He got on that big old Source magazine, put the cigar in his mouth, he big red Paru. And to that point, this is what people don't realize in hip hop culture. He never got to do that. So that's why when he finally got to do it, he was big Suge Knight. And we thought
And he's absolutely right. What people don't know is Suge Knight was a football player, but he was also Dr. Dre's security guard. So once he got a little bit of money, everything that he did was a facade. You seen it also in Tupac. Soon as Tupac got money, he turned into a gangster. But before he got the money, he was speaking positive. He was trying to mentor blacks. But when he got the money, he still did the same thing. He was still telling black people that you need to put the guns down and stop the black on black violence. A lot of, how can I say, a lot of black men, this is going to be the overall goal and dream. It's because this is what's pumped into your head when you're little. You have a lot of grown men now that are in their 40s. They're just now coming across wealth and they're just now getting some money. They're going back trying to dress like they're 19 years old. They're trying to wear jewelry like they're 19 years old. They're trying to look like they're extremely young because they never had a chance to live like that in their teenage years. So it's something about black culture that no matter what happens, ultimately everybody wants to put on this gangster persona. They want to be known as a gangster. And the reason why that is done is because it's a form of intimidation. Why is it a form of intimidation? It's because they've taken on a female spirit. They only know to lash out because that's what they grow up seeing. So if you grew up in black neighborhoods, then the energy you know is when you get money, you be flamboyant, you talk to others, you become the head alpha, you become the head gangster, because that is intimidating factors for people not to mess with you. So you always see the nicest people in the world, the good guys. Soon as they get a little bit of money, they try to put themselves in power so they can intimidate others not to mess with them. Not knowing the real killer is never going to argue back and forth with you. The real killers are just going to come and get you and take you out the game. Look at King Von. They said King Von was a killer because he didn't waste no time on the internet. He went to go see his victims.
Suge Knight was a big bad motherfucker, and he wasn't. It was the niggas around him. They thought Suge Knight was a cream puff. Nah, the streets thought Suge Knight was a cream puff. So I'm making a correlation to this kid. This kid is a cream puff, trying to play like a gangster in a thug. That's why he's embracing it with all these 100 millions. They didn't get to do it before now. The niggas who got to did it before now, when they get to 100 million, they play square. They play square.
He's right. When real men make money, they have to play square because they have a lot more to lose. Once some men get so much money, they think even if I lose something, I'm not going to fall off because I'm rich. But a real man in real life, once he works hard, and basketball players just have to be athletic. Musicians just have to create music that everybody's going to like. Once they stop making music that everybody's going to like, they're going to fall off, and then typically they fall into depression. But the average guy out here that gains success, that work hard and to build his business up, he doesn't have time to play gangsters. For one, you start to become more powerful. Like with me, I can't play gangster as successful as I am because I have friend cops, I have ambulance friends, I have judge friends, I have lawyer friends because I'm legit. When you're legit, you meet legit people. You start to get legit connections. The more connections you are legit, the more you can't play these street games here because you can lose it all playing these street games. But when you have these athletes and these rappers, they can play the street game because their imagery sells. It makes the youth want to look at them and inspire to be them because they're already doing something that the youth like. The youth don't look at a carpenter and says, oh, I want to be a carpenter one day. I want to work on a roof one day. They look at that hard work as something they want to skip. They're like, man, I don't never want to be out there doing roof work. I don't never want to be fixing a house. I don't never want to be landscaping. So I got to try to find an easy way to get the money just so they can turn around and ruin their life. I always say the bad part about the community is that no matter how you get rich, everybody celebrates it like a rapper. You have lawyers that are trying to be rappers, doctors that are trying to be rappers because the fad is just kicking in. All right, big shout outs to Fave Music with the $2 again. Really appreciate it, my dude. Let's get to the next video. And this is the Whatever podcast that somebody brought up yesterday. And let's get into what they're talking about here. Had to rewind them. He asked these OnlyFans girls to rate their look out of 10. Let's get to it.
10.
Ask the ladies to rate their look.
I like that. I like how he ended with, do you want to revise your answers as I pull out the makeup remover? One thing that you guys have to understand, girls at that age are never going to rate themselves low because it's making them feel insecure. That's the thing about a woman. As long as a guy wants to sleep with her, she's going to think she's a 10. Regardless of what people say out of their mouth, she's going to automatically think she's a 10 because she's valuing herself based off of the attention that she gets from men. That's what guys have to understand. That's why I tell you, you in your 20s, early teens and 20s as a man, you need to ignore this. Like when women are doing this, you shouldn't be reacting emotionally. You shouldn't be like, oh, they're not a 10, they're 5. She's that. Because the redhead was definitely not a 10. But you have to understand, women don't look at it the same way that you look at it. You want to know why a girl becomes a whore? A girl becomes a whore to get comfortable with her body, to feel sexy. You're looking at it like, oh, she wants to go have sex and be with all these guys. No, she doesn't feel like she's worth it. This is why when you're watching porn, the girls that have no titties do the nastiest shit. The girls who have no bodies do the nastiest shit. That's how it is in high school. The girls that are giving it up are going to be the girls who have no bodies or the girls that are fat. And the reason why they do that and they go get trains ran on them, they go hang around the boys and want to be flirty, it's because that's the only advantage that they have over the pretty girl. So if they go around the guys, their objective is to get the guys to sleep with them to show the other girls that, hey, they want to sleep with me, so they give the pussy away. This is why women become whores. It's to get in touch with their body because they're comparing themselves to the pretty girl. So as long as you want to sleep with her, she's going to think she's a 10. You want her attention, you act like you don't want to sleep with her. Why? Because she starts to think that she's not pretty enough for you, and she starts to work the hardest to get you. The goal is for a woman to conquer. Once she starts to feel low, getting a train ran on her, it degrades her to the men because it's something they don't want, but it only values her to be more comfortable with her body. You fuck enough whores and the women sleep with enough guys, she's going to start acting bougie. And then you going to have the one guy that all the guys done slept with, but now she making you work for it. And a lot of guys have been put in that position where it's like, you're looking like, man, you done slept with all these guys and now you making me work for it. But you're not understanding. All those guys didn't want to love her. All those guys already knew what it was. She was trying to capture their attention. But she see that you the guy that don't really get the women, so she's going to make you work for it because all the guys that she gave it up to, she knows those guys can get women. So she had to go to the party. She had to throw herself out there. So she captures the attention over the pretty girls. When women start to fall off, that's normally the time where you could talk to them like they have sense. When they're going through this age right now, as long as there is a guy that's in their DM, they're never going to think that they're ugly. It's that simple. Silver Lion comes in with the $5. He says, here is where we are at as men. Men don't live for false validation. Women can be great. Men, when we live in our masculinity, we are great. You're absolutely right. Women will always be living off of emotions. They're going to always be piling the makeup on their face. They're going to always be poking the boobs out. They're going to always have the body to show the butt. And the more we move on in society, the worse it's going to get. It's going to get to the point, like if we're already at the point where girls will say, I slept with 20 guys last night. I do the nastiest stuff. I like a man shitting on my face for 100,000. Like you have women now. Big shout outs to Sigma Soldier. Gabe Smith, welcome to Sigma Nation, big dog. You have women now. It's far past showing titties and booties. It's straight now. Women are like, what is the most degrading thing that I can say to get attention? Oh, I'm cheating on this guy. Oh, I slept with this guy. I want him to nut on my face. I want him to do that. You see, she's doing everything sexual to get attention because that's where their power is at. Women want to be degraded now because it get clicks and views online. And this is another reason why it's like why men don't want babies. It's like we picture that. It only takes a couple bad apples to ruin the entire bunch. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening with women. You're doing all of these degrading things online to get attention from men because it's cute. But what you're doing is you're entertaining the guys that you don't like for likes and views that make you feel special. But what you're doing is scaring off the men that you're going to want later down life. That's what women are not getting. This is the lost generation because they're not going to be good for a real man who's became wise. They're just going to be independent women trying to find somewhere to fit in life. And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of middle-aged women that are sad and depressed trying to figure this out in life because when they were younger, they felt it was okay to be liberated. Well, now their kids think it's liberated. Can you imagine this generation coming up now? If Generation Z kids are not afraid to say these things and not afraid to degrade themselves, can you imagine what their kids are going to do? That's what a lot of guys are like, why am I having kids? What more can we do wrong? Like a lot of parents, especially fathers or daughters, have gotten so loose that it's like, oh my God, I know my daughter is a whore, but doesn't know what to do about it, right? Which is going to take me into the next video. We're going to come here. We're going to go into Seth Rogen says, he and his wife have discovered the key to happiness, and it's not having kids. All right, let's go over here and let's get to it.
Reference. Zeresto offers 8 months of Reference seller, you don't have any kids.
I do not. That has helped me succeed as well. Definitely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole huge thing I'm not doing, which is raising children.
People, obviously, someone will be listening, but it would make you happier. You know, someone might say that. I'm trying to rebuttal.
I don't think it would. I've been around, obviously, a lot of children. I'm not ignorant to what it's like to. I've seen everyone I know has kids. I see. I'm 40 again. You know, like it's not. I know. You know, I've some of my friends have had kids for decades. You know.
I have to agree with him with that. When I was younger, I relate to that. When I was younger, all my friends started having kids in high school. It was my mom like, you're going to the military. All your friends are having kids. You got to go to the military, period, before you get caught up in them. So when you're watching all your friends have children after children after children, they're bragging about their kids, kid after kid after kid. You know what I'm saying? You start to say, all right, they love their kids, they love their kids, they love their kids. But here comes the drama. But here comes the baby mama drama. But here comes the nightmares. But here comes the disconnect. You start to see as your friends have kids and their kids get older, the bigger the problems get. The more problems you have with the baby mothers, the more problems you're having with the woman. And I think that this is what kept me single, and this is what kept me from having children, is because I seen no glory in it. I was the guy guys wanted to call up and talk to about their problems with their baby mama or problems they're having with their kids, problem they're having with kids. Now they done lost their job. They got to do this. Now they need to make money to do that. They got to have this. Having kids is stressful. So when you're watching other people go through problems with children and marriages because you're so stuck on it, then it causes you not to have kids. Like, for instance, I told myself, maybe I'll have kids when I'm 30, 31, 32 years old. So I dedicated myself to traveling the world until I got to that. That's why I told you guys when I was a player, I was messing with whores, ordering whores, being with slutty girls, because I was not prepared for the good girl who wanted to sit down and have a family. I wouldn't deal with those type of girls because they wasn't in the direction that I was going. So I separated myself and I said, you know what? I don't want to have kids. But throughout that process of me saying, I'm going to have kids when I turn 30, I sat back in my 20s and watched all my friends make the mistakes to the point that when I got around to have kids, And that was 8 years ago, not 10 years ago. The agendas have already changed. So by the time I made up my mind that maybe I would want to have kids, women had already transitioned into a whole nother wave of women that I did not want to deal with. And some people would be like, well, those are just the girls you dealing with. Sorry, but a desperate man goes and search for woman after woman after woman. I'm still a dreamer. I still got shit I want to do. I could still get a piece of ass. Having kids and get married is a different ballgame. You could easily find a woman to have sex with, but finding a woman to have a connection with was the hardest. Once again, I have a woman now, but I do not plan on having kids. Me and her have already talked about that, and I told her I'm happier the way that we are. All right, let's get back to self. Big shout outs to Sigma 6 with the $2. Says, disagree. You can only have kids when you're strong enough. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Let's get to it.
Some people want kids. Some people don't want kids. I think a lot of people have kids before they even think about it. From what I've seen, honestly, you just are told, you go through life, you get married, you have kids. It's what happens. And me and my wife were just, neither of us were like that, you know? And
I look at that statement. Sigma 6, I know this is your first time coming around here, brother. But I feel like this is a disagreement for attention. Keandre, get rid of him.
Honestly, the older we get, the more happy and reaffirmed we are with our choice to not have kids. Like, it was something we kind of talked about more, and we were like, have we made the right choice? Are we sure? Now, if more than anything, the conversation is like, honestly, thank God we don't have children. We get to do whatever we want. We are in the prime of our lives. We are smarter than we've ever been. We understand ourselves more than we ever have. We have the capacity to achieve a level of work and a level of communication and care for one another and a lifestyle we can live with one another that we've never been able to live before. And we can just do that.
And I agree with him on that. I agree. Once you get to a level of happiness, because we're living in such a distracted, devilish world that has a dark cloud over society right now. We're living in mental illness. So it's really hard for people to maintain their happiness when you have so many people that are running around trying to snatch your energy from you. Everybody wants to be seen and heard, but the only way to get attention is to troll, to disagree, to pick up arguments. People really, really need attention. They're doing anything for it. So once you get to a level of happiness, you have to block out all that negativity. Just like the guy that just donated to the channel. He donated, but that's not a donation that allows you to disagree just to troll. It didn't even make any sense. And I told you, you come on this channel disagreeing for attention, your ass is fucking gone. I don't care how much you donate. We would not get our energy snatched over here. That trolling shit is dead. And this is one of the reasons why people don't want to have kids. It's because when you're in Sigma Nation and you're a Sigma and you get the state of life where you can consciously move with happiness, you don't want to bring any other distractions if it's not needed. Like I told you guys before, I don't have kids because I don't have a plan for the kid, but I got tons of plans of what I want to do with my life. It just doesn't involve a kid because I see so much opportunity that I can do. And I just don't look at kids as being happy. I think that's for people that don't have dreams. I think that if you don't have dreams and you don't have vision and you don't have anything going for yourself, I think having a kid will make you busy. But when you're a person like me who dreams, you see me make music, you guys see me do skits, you see me go live every day, you see me do reaction videos. You just watching me as a content creator, you see so many spectrums of colors that I put out. Okay, that makes me happy. Sitting down, having a kid, raising it, and spending more time trying to keep my child away from the matrix while society is trying to bring him into the matrix, I don't have time for that. I look at these kids that are trolling, and we got nothing but trolls online, and I say to myself, their parents must hate them. I would be such a shamed parent if I knew my child is doing nothing but sitting online trolling every day for attention. I would say to myself, where the fuck did I go wrong? You had a child to become a wasteless person that sits online trying to snatch energy from people. That's what we live in now. Like, you're willing to give birth to a child to sit at home and do that. That's what the generation before did that. They gave birth to these kids. They had these kids because it was cute to walk around the grocery store. They got sad. They got lonely. They started getting old. And they said, let me just have a child to have something to do. Then when they got that child, as that child was a baby, they treat it like a puppy. Everybody loves it. But the moment them children started talking, the moment the kids started comprehending what's going on, the parents are like, oh my God, they're getting uncontrollable. Give them a cell phone. Oh man, they're getting uncontrollable. I really don't want them now. Let's give them a iPad. Let's just stick them in front of a computer. Because I don't want to raise my child because now it's a headache. They don't want to put in the work. They had the kid because they like the baby phase. They like the puppy phase. Everybody like pit bulls when they're puppies. Everybody. But once it grow up, that's when people are like, oh man, I didn't prepare for this because I got to make sure that I keep my job, and keeping my job is stressful, and I don't want to come home and deal with a child. So a lot of these children, they have just been grouped into the computer so they don't bother the parents when the parents get home from work, and it has turned them into a bot. The generation before have birthed nothing but body kids that's sitting at home angry, sad, no connection with mom, no connection with dad. They cursing grandma out. They're wishing death onto everyone. And this is what the fuck I'm supposed to be bringing into the world? We birthed a generation of bots that are doing nothing but being overly emotional and trying to snatch energy from other people. This generation didn't even produce regular human beings. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to have a damn child, because I don't want my child to mingle amongst these fucking bots. What are you having a kid for? Oh, I have a child that's been sitting in his computer room for 20 years with nothing but evil thoughts. That's all he wake up to is evil thoughts. Everything he do is evil. Walking outside is evil. Mom and dad's evil. Grandma is evil. And then you have the kids who are battling abuse from mom and dad, talking to them like they ain't shit. Mom and dad cursing you out, taking their anger out on you because they can't handle the pressures of life. You have those children that are on here too, who have broke parents that have become narcissists and have talked to them like they wasn't shit. Now they online trying to take somebody else's energy. They trying to treat somebody online like somebody is treating them in real life. You have a generation of nothing but lonely, sad ass fucking kids that don't know what to do. Why would I bring a child into this shit? That would be their friends. Because no matter what happens in life, I'm going to still chase my dreams. So it's better off that I do not have any children so I can sit back and be happy, distracting myself from this madness that we live in. You got women going home killing all their kids. Husbands going home killing all their kids whenever the pressures of life kick in. Because they wanted to have a family because it was cute. Everybody's having families because it's cute, but do not have a plan as to how they are going to raise their kids. And you're mad that people don't want to have kids? What the fuck? Everybody that woke up to happiness and found the happy place, they're like, I'm trying to stay here. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to stay here because I hate being around other people's kids. They don't have any connection. They don't have them at all. Let's see what else he got. And then we're going to get into my lecture. My lecture's going to get deep today. We definitely going in.
And we don't have to raise a child, which the world does not need right now. and so yeah, it's we're very happy with our choice to not have kids. And I work with a lot of people with kids, and I see definitively that I have more time to both do the things I need to do and the things I enjoy doing than they do.
I agree. See, I got all the time in the world to film and edit, go work on my cars and do what I want to do to distract myself. These kids don't have time to do nothing but sit on the internet and try to find the next trend, find the next excitement. I keep trying to tell you, kids are programmed like gambling. They're gambling with Instagram every day. They're gambling with TikTok every day. And now they're gambling with YouTube. They're trying to find happiness with each click, with each like. That's where the brains are. They don't have time to be creative. They don't have time to do things in real life that are beneficial. I remember when I was younger, where the cell phones wasn't there, everybody snuck out the house, right? We used to always sneak out the house. You go to your friend's house, you throw the rocks up to his window. You're like, yo, we down here, you coming down? You go to your new girlfriend's house, y'all throwing rocks at her window. Like, yo, you coming down? And everybody will sneak out the house, but you wouldn't go far. You'll only be a block up the street. But everybody will be like congregating and stuff. And then here come that one parent come out like, hey, what are y'all kids doing sneaking out? You better get home before I call your parents. You better get home before I call your parents. You better get home before I call your parents. I remember those little things. It was fun. Nobody got in trouble, but it built the character in you. Now you don't have that anymore. You don't have those little things in life that people value the most. You don't have that anymore. Kids are not kids anymore. They're not playing in the streets. They're not playing football in the streets. They're not playing That's My Car. They're not playing rollerblading hockey. I remember we used to play rollerblading hockey with a tennis ball and some hockey sticks. Y'all remember rolling blading hockey? It's a different ball game. Regular dude comes through with the $5. He said, it's older people who can't believe we was even born on earth, let alone having a kid in today's time. You're right. You're absolutely right. The older people, they're looking back now. All the older people older than us, they're looking at the world like, man, it's going to end at any given moment. There's no structure. I wouldn't want to bring a child into this. Let's finish this up.
And not to say their kids don't bring them joy, but I say this truthfully. Me and my wife seem to get a lot more active enjoyment out of not having kids than anyone I know seems to get out of having kids.
I agree with him 100%. Gabe Smith, big shout outs, bro. He says, I'm 25, finishing up school on purpose, no father in my life. How do I handle dealing with narcissists, hypocritical older siblings with a disabled mother? You have to cut everybody off. I have a sister now I haven't talked to since the George Floyd situation because she went a little bit too hard for me. You know what I mean? I lost respect for her. I haven't talked to her since. So you have to understand siblings have to disconnect from each other because everyone's going to have their way of thinking. The older you get, you're 25, so you're just now figuring it out. As the frustration increases, it's going to be easier for you to let your siblings go and move on. I've cut off a whole family. I don't care. I realize in life that mental illness has taken over. That's the main thing you got to realize is that mental illness has taken over. Your families could be mental ill. I dropped on Instagram, I said yesterday, your biggest hater is not the one that's exposing themselves. It's going to be the one that's saying nothing. So you have to realize as mental illness takes over, it can affect your family members too because their algorithm is different than yours. We're living in a world where once you find your happiness, you have to stick with it. You have to, because it's so easy to get distracted. You don't know what other people have been through. People are meeting people and they're falling in love and they're dying 2 weeks later from that person. So you got to realize now you never know what people are actually going through. We're going to go ahead and I'm getting ready to go into the lecture. Okay, as I go into this lecture, the only way to get my attention from this point is going to be through donations. Please do not ask any questions. I'm saying it now because I'm suddenly going to be glancing because I have to pay attention to my internet signal as well. So I got internet signal, I got chat, and I got the other screen over here I'm going to bring up later. All right, we're about to get started with the lecture. All I ask is that you guys go ahead and get those likes up before I get started over here. And, oh, you guys are doing good on the likes. Big shout outs to everybody on the likes. Everybody is definitely showing me love on the likes. What the? All right, there we go. All right. Today's lecture is going to be why more men are choosing to not have kids. All right. One of the reasons that most men are choosing not to have kids is, for one, it's the most expensive. It is very expensive now to raise a child. Why? Because you're going to need technology. And with technology, it can get expensive. On top of that, children want to do more. The price of daycare is high. And in society, you have a lot of people that are losing their jobs. So society is playing for keeps. We're living in a world where everyone's going to become selfish, which is why you're going to have more people that are going to backstab you. It's because society is placing itself in survival mode. All right? The women are already starting to jump into survival mode. They're already starting to share guys that have money. All right? The Bible says what? In the last days, each man will have 7 wives. Okay, we're going into that world now, that if you're a guy that got money, you're going to start seeing a lot of women come towards you. But the downfall about that, they're coming in your life as bloodsucker leeches. So the guy that is not in control of his desires, he would think he's the man because he has all these women that like him. But what he don't know is it's just a matter of time before they take everything from you. That's what the Futures and all the other celebrities are going to eventually see down the road, is that, yes, it is extremely easy to have a lot of women with, but what they're doing is they're using the kid as a crutch. They're using the kid as a paycheck. They're not having kids to have a plan. They're having kids to get more money. Why? Because children are very expensive, but children bring money to women and take from the man. The man is going to end up coming out way more money than what the woman is, because the woman's going to get a check from the government and she's going to be getting a check from the man for child support. So no matter how it scratches out, the woman's going to always win. She either going to hypergamize herself up or she's going to lock somebody in and trap them. She's going to benefit. But most men have realized it's going to always fall back on me no matter what when it comes to a child. If she knows I'm the father, it's been proven I'm the father, my pockets are going to get hit. And most guys now, they just can't afford to have a child. It isn't that they don't financially have the money to afford a child. It's just that they see better things to do. Like, to me, it'll be like, hey, do I want to have a child, or do I want my 1952 Lincoln Zephyr? I'm going to buy my Zephyr. Because I'm going to get more happiness out of the Zephyr. I'm going to get more happiness out of the things that I want to do. So it isn't that guys can't afford it. It's just that guys would rather put their money towards something that's going to bring them more happiness into their life. So the affordability is what's keeping a lot of men back, which is why you can see the rich can continue to produce kids, because they're getting money from a different angle. Their money is long. The amount of money that it takes to raise a kid, just like 50 Cent said, when I had my child, I gave my baby mother $1.5 million up front for the rest of my child's life. It just came out of the same bank account over time, because he knew that this is going to cost a lot of money. And you see what happened with him. Eventually, the woman ended up turning the child against him. So affordability is one of the main things, because not a lot of guys, truthfully, are trying to go own a business in order to take care of a kid. They'd rather make enough money to where they could take care of themselves. And I agree. I would rather do that. I would rather do that. I would rather take my money and spend it on things that's going to be happy versus spending my money on a child that's possibly going to be controlled by someone else. All right, let's see here. What we got going on? All right. Okay, next reason is going to be women have too many moods during pregnancy. All right, a lot of black dudes, you see, when black women are pregnant, they have this disease where they get into arguments with people and they want to end the relationship in the middle of the argument. You have way more, especially black women, that are trying to find love while they are pregnant. Like, this is mental illness, that people that don't have kids start to look at women and say, what are you thinking? Like, look at what the pregnant women are doing now, and look at what they're giving birth to, and look at the mood swings that women are going through just by giving birth. Giving birth and being around a woman to have a child will drain your soul. That's what you mainly see. You see a lot of guys whose souls are getting drained just from the moods of women whenever they're going through pregnancy. Look at, like, go to the mall. And when you go to the mall and you go past the food court and you go past the shops, go over there where the kids are sitting around playing. All right? See, the ones that have nothing going with your life, you may look at those kids and be like, oh my God, those kids are so sweet. Kids just make me happy. But look at the parents' face. See, that's what I told my woman. See, my woman wants kids because she's from Iraq. She wants them. She wants 1,000 kids. So I tell her, look, we went to the mall. Look at the parents' faces. Don't look at the kids playing. Because every killer started out at that kid at the park. Every murderer started out like that. Every gangbanger started out like that. Every slutty woman you see started out like that. Everybody that you disagree with in life started out as these little kids playing in the mall right now. Playing around right here. But stop and look at the parents' faces. You know what the parents are saying? Please tire your ass out so I can go home and finally get some rest. Please tire your ass out. I hope this kid tires out. I hope the kid tires out. I hope the kid just tires out. People now, they had the child for gratification because their life was bored. But being that they never had a plan for the child. All they know how to do now is to just distract it. We need to find a way to tire the kid out or find a way to distract the kid to keep the child from bothering us. Why? Because the moods that women have. Women are going to want kids and be a happy mom one day, and then the next day, she's going to be, oh my God, you take the kids. I just got a headache with these kids. This is why you have so many parents, especially women, that are taking their kids out of the game. It's because once you take the child and you're getting sick of the cute face and you start putting it in front of the television and you start putting it in front of the cell phone, the child attention spans get shorter and shorter and shorter. So what parents are doing is the more you put them in front of a cell phone and take them away from the cell phone, the more aggravating that they're going to be to you because their brain is running so fast that the parent can't keep up. The parent is not on the cell phone all day. They have to work regular jobs that don't move as fast as the internet. But when a kid is on the internet, their brain is being programmed to move fast. This is why you have so many children out here. The parents are just like, I gotta leave them there because I don't have the energy to play with my child when they come off. You have so many parents that just walk past their kid's room every day and be like, damn, they've been on that video game for 12 hours. The parents themselves are like, well, they're not bothering me, fuck it. They don't know the child's on the game for 12 hours. They're watching people die the next video, and then they're jumping in and out of porn, and then they're talking like adults. You have children now that are talking and acting as if they are adults, but the parents don't care as long as the child's not bothering me because I can't play with it because its attention span is too short. That's what we're going into. The next reason. This is one of my reasons, and it could be yours too. I don't want to be responsible for someone else's happiness. So when the internet is telling the kid a certain way to be happy, and we can easily say, well, you just got to raise your child without the internet. At some point, that child has to go on the internet. The older that child gets, the more it's going to be curious about the internet. The more the internet, at some point, you will be battling you and your child with the internet. So one thing that you have to understand is trying to make a child happy is damn near impossible. And the more you pander in it, the worse of an adult it's going to be. That's what we have now. We have pandered kids whose parents were like, shit, I had my child. And then you got the single mothers that are like, I got to pander my kid. The father ain't here. I feel bad. I love my child. If my child lash out, I don't know what to do because I feel sorry that they don't have the things that the other kids have. That's how parents are that raise weak kids. They feel sorry for the kids to the point where they're going to pander them in order to make them happy. That's what I don't want. That's what most guys, especially Sigma males, don't want. we don't want to be responsible for somebody else's happiness, because even as a father, if you're talking to your kid a certain way and the mother doesn't like the way you're talking to the kid, now you got to try to make two people happy, and one of them could be impossible to make happy, and let alone if the kid done sat in front of the internet all day and have a short attention span, it's going to be hard to make him happy. So the way I look at it, having a kid, it plays an impossible game to the adult, because whenever the child's not happy, all you're going to do is pander it. And that's why we have so many kids that are stuck inside of their room. They don't want to leave their room. They don't want to leave the video games. They don't want to go nowhere, because the parents are saying, hey, I'll give you what you want. I'm going to pander my kid. Just stay on the cell phone. We'll go get you some food, and I'll bring it to you. I'll cook you whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. Just stay in the fucking room and don't bother me. So now parents found, this is how I make my child happy. It's by letting them do whatever they want in their room that doesn't bother me. But me, I can't do that. I don't want to be responsible for the happiness to where I got to break who I am in order to train my kid the way I want to, because society says, hey, if you try to teach the kid the way you want to, then you're considered a bad father. That's one of the main things that I'm afraid of. I don't want the headache of trying to make someone happy that's pretty much going to be impossible to make happy in the society that we live in now. Like, let's just keep it honest. A lot of these kids, 30 and below, I don't know. I don't know. I see zombies that are forming. I see 14, 12, 13-year-olds doing drugs heavy. I see 14-year-old girls dressing like sluts, proud to show people she getting ran through, proud to talk about I'm fucking, I'm doing all this. I see a generation that needs to just drown off. Like, it's like you have to get rid of that generation. There's nothing good. You can't think of nothing positive about this generation that's coming up now. What does that mean? There's no way you can make them happy. If you can't find not one thing that's positive about this generation, how are you going to make that generation happy? That's what we're living in. We're living in that. You can't find one positive thing about this generation at all. Nothing. You can't say, well, they're smart at this, or well, they're doing that. I can tell you what they can do. They can entertain you to get money. They can do TikTok videos. They can become vloggers. But even when you look at them, they're always going through stuff. They're always making a video about them crying so somebody feels sorry for them. Like, that's in the YouTube manual. You want people to feel, you want to get a lot of views and people love you, just cry on camera. They say it all the time. These children feel like their life is a movie and that it's on display. They would never be happy because they're suffering from the same thing that celebrities are suffering from, and that's attention. And the ones that can't get the attention, they're willing to do anything for the attention. They're like, shit, the attention is the drug. How do I get it? So the girls are like, let me take my clothes off. That works. They have a cheat code, right? So then you have the celebrity guys that are like, all right, let me just buy some clothes. Let me buy some cars. Let me look like I'm living the life. And then they're like, they get the attention. But then you have the introverted nerds. They want it too. They're like, how do I get the attention? I don't have the car. I don't have the look. I don't have the women. Let me disagree. They're left to do that. You have kids. You have, like, I looked the other day at my comments that have been hitting, and I'm like, do people realize, like, this is where we gotten down to? We gotten down, like, one dude said in the comments, like, Anthony looks like a pussy poo. And then he had like 1,000 other comments underneath. I'm like, damn, look at all these bots talking about me. But I'm looking at them like, there's nothing I can say to hurt them because their life has been belittled down to words trying to get attention because they can't get it the other way that their peers are getting. That's sad. Where everybody just look at me, look at me, look at me. Why do they have that? Because their parents don't fuck with them. They don't fuck with their parents. That's where the core is at. Cursing mom out, cursing dad out. Both of them are to blame for their entire life. So now it's like my mom, my dad didn't give me the attention I want because the internet said they were supposed to love me. The internet said that they were supposed to do this. The internet said they were supposed to do that. Now they're not getting it. I got to find it. Let me say something stupid online. And the girl's like, let me take all my clothes off. Let me talk about how many balls I licked. Let me talk about getting shitted on in my face. Let me talk about that. We got to the point where people talk about this shit and it releases dopamine through their body and they don't think twice about their morality. They're not thinking twice about it. So having kids in today's world makes it look impossible to make them happy. Because if you raise your sons to be good and nice, respectable dudes, they normally grow up so soft, they can't even survive in the real world because the real world ain't soft. It's a horrible place. And most of the kids have become part of that horribleness that you can't train them to guide around it because it's became part of their culture. It became part of their society. This is what they know. If something disagrees with them, they're supposed to lash out. Enos comes in with the $2. Preach. You my hero, bro. Salute. That's a Miami man. Y'all put some respect on his name. T-Bird, I know you somewhere watching. That's another one. So like I was saying, it's impossible to make these children happy because of the short attention spans that they're having inside of the internet. So people that want children now normally want them for a theme. You really don't have a plan. You have to have a plan for a child now. People don't want kids for a plan. They want it the same reason they want a dog, the same reason they want a puppy, the same reason they want fish, the same reason they want a bird. They want something to love. But the difference is animals and pets die off after a couple of times. Your kid lived, you're responsible for that forever. So a parent has to always think, I'm stuck with this forever, but you went into it willing to give it the love as a dog. The dog will eventually die off after 10 to 12 years. But the human forms and grows up into something that can destroy you. And that's what parents have done. You've given birth to your own demise because you wanted something to love that looked cute in the damn grocery store. You're not even adjusting to life. You're selfishly having children because you don't have any plans with your life. That's wrong. That's why we have a generation of children who are fucked. It's because your parents didn't have any plans of life, but they needed something for that moment. You're a product of them being lonely. Jordan 11 comes through with $5. He says, women always want children in the beginning until the cute baby phase for attention is over. That's when they put them on somebody else. Exactly. That's when they trying to look for stepdaddy. That's when they trying to get with all the football coaches. No, that's when they signing them up for recreational sports. But the football coach, he gonna get all the women. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The basketball coach, he gonna get all the women. The guy at the group center that's taking care of the kids, he gonna get all the baby mamas because that's what they want. They had the kids for the cute phase, for the grocery store. See, they could use them as crutches when they're younger and get what they want. You feel what I'm saying? And somebody said, give them to grandma. You're right. Grandma sets herself up for this because she teaches her daughter not to go out and seek a husband. She teaches her daughter to learn to survive by herself. She don't teach her how to be in a relationship. She kind of likes it because if grandmother doesn't get a man, grandmother's going to want the daughter to have children so it could give the grandma a life. Why you think in the black community there's so many grandmas raising their grandchildren, so many aunties that done grabbed a baby from one of the family members and they're raising it on their own. You see that so much in the black community where you see auntie with daughter, but everybody thought, oh, this was your daughter? No, this is really my niece. Oh, but you've been around her your whole life. Yeah, but it's really my niece. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of that. Well, he says a lot more in foster care. You're right. All these foster cares and people handing over their kids to other people to take care of is because they wanted to have a child. Because at the moment of their life, they was feeling down and they was feeling low. They never planned for it. That's why when I used to see successful people having kids that after 35. I understood that. I understood why Jay-Z had his first kid at 42. I understand why Kanye West had his first kid at 38. DJ Khaled, 40. You watch all of these famous, a lot of people that are really moving out here, they have kids in later ages because they have to have the kids for a reason. There has to be a reason why you're having kids. Too many people want kids because you know it's going to keep you busy. You want kids because you think you have a legacy. Let me tell you something. If you broke, sad, depressed, and you're having kids for a legacy, you're doing more harm to society. That's what makes society even worse, is that we have a generation of parents who gave birth to a child with no plan, but the distraction was put them in the room with the computer. Just give them the computer, put them in the room, and then monitor that. Once they get in the room, they get distracted by the computer. Just monitor that. All right? When you're bored, go knock on their door. Hey, what are you doing, honey? You want to go on? We about to go to the store. You want to come? Oh, you don't want to go? All right, sorry for bothering you. While you sitting in there, Mom, leave me the fuck alone, because you've been there playing the video game for 12 hours. But now she bored. She want to pull you off your video game. See, parents have set up this trolling shit. They've set up these introverted serial killers that are being formed right now because they had the children selfishly, but never had a goal to raise that child. You just wanted it to be cute. Now that child is sitting inside of its room, cursing you the fuck out. You have no connection with it. You're arguing with your kids. They arguing with this. Look, most kids are getting ready to take, a lot of kids are getting ready to take their parents out the game because their parents is responsible for their happiness. That goes back to the second one. I'm not having children because I don't want to be responsible for their happiness. Bam Bam says Ghetto has too many lost boys. Yes, you do. They do. And they join gangs or the LGBT. But the white community this trolling shit comes from the white community because these kids been having computers. They've been having chat rooms. I used to be the only black kid in an all-white school, and I can tell you, they had computers way before blacks. Way before blacks. I'm talking years before the black schools got them. They been had them. That's where your trolls are. The black kids the trolling for black kids is new. Black kids were joining gangs. You feel what I'm saying? Now everybody is under this metamorphosis where they're stuck inside of their room because their parents couldn't play with them because they had them out of selfish reasons. When I see a family, a broke family with like 7 kids struggling with cute daughters, I always say, damn, this is going to be sad watching these girls slut themselves out. Because that's all they're going to know. Kids don't know what broke is. They don't know what that is. When they're 5, 6, and 7, they don't know what broke is. They don't know what suffering and depression is because their energy is high. But as they get older, they start to suffer from it. The more they comprehend and the more they can't keep up with the other kids, the more fucked up they feel. That's what we have now, a generation of kids that are 20-something years old and have never coordinated with the rest of the world because their parents hid them inside of a fucking room with a computer. And now you're smart as fuck. Most of you kids and introverts, you're smart as fuck, but you have no life experiences to face the world. You're just a smart ass. That's it. I don't have time to give birth to a smart ass because I don't want to play with it because I have my own vision. The best thing for me to do is to just not have any kids. We don't live in a world where you need kids anymore. You're seeing what they're doing. Look at what they're doing with the kids. Look at the kids' books. Look at the kids' schools. Not only that, but do these kids actually act like they're getting home training? Do the average kid act like they have respectable parents? Because most of these kids are getting their parents in trouble. I had a little girl playing outside and she threw a rock at one of my cars thinking that it was cute because somebody dared her. And I walk outside and you guys go on Instagram, you've seen my cars. Like I have pretty cars. So she threw the rock. I came outside like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, I don't care about you, old man. She called me an old man. You know what I said? I said, go get your fucking parents and tell her to come on back down here. Go get your fucking parents and tell them to come back down. Guess what she did? She boiled over and cried and ran home and got her parents. And then her parents came back down. She said, oh, you talking to my daughter like this, that, and the third. And I said, y'all pieces of shit parents anyway. Who get knocked the fuck out? When your kids are out here acting like they don't have home training, the rest of the world don't give a fuck about the parent. That's what parents aren't understanding. When your child is out here acting a mess, people automatically lose respect for the parents because they're saying all of this starts at home. Parents now, they've pushed their kid inside of a room with a computer, and these kids are lashing out online. They can say what they want online and have no recoil for it, no feedback. They don't have to be accountable for what they're saying because they're lashing out to the point where no one's paying attention to them. They're lashing out. Mommy don't want to play with me. I'm going to go online and just hate. I hear my parents, my mom's getting banged out. I'm going to do this. I'm from a dysfunctional home. Everybody is arguing and fighting. I'm going to come online, and what I want to say to them, I'm just going to say it to somebody in the chat. I'm going to say that to somebody online because I'm scared to lash out in real life so I can come online, do it, and get away with it. But here's the trick. The more you do that, the more that becomes part of your personality. But the personality that you design, it's not the person that you want to be. That's what's happening. People are trolling for attention, but you're really not that. But you've done it so much, it becomes part of your personality that when you come out in the real world and you start to do the same thing you've been doing online, the real world knocks you the fuck out. The real world walks up on you and blows your motherfucking brains out while you sitting right there. See, when y'all watching shit on TV and y'all seeing dudes drive up to the cart, they're like, oh man, he just walked up to him and blew his brains out in front of the thing. That's one of them trolling kids. And I told y'all, I done been at car meets and I done seen the goofiest looking kid with glasses come over, and here come the gang, and the gang walking over to him, and they saying, hey, you gonna run that shit that you was running online? And then here come the goofy kid with the glasses. Nah, man, we just playing. That's online, bro. Why you getting sensitive? And then they knocked that nigga the fuck out and tried to kill him. They not playing with these children. Children are not playing with children. Children are ready to kill other kids like it's nothing. I see these kids walking down the street every day, putting their guns in the bushes, smoking weed. They ready to kill. They've been programmed to kill because they have no love. The parents are not giving them love. The parents had them just for themes. Look at my son, he's cute. Themes. Let's take him to the cookout. They're good fillers at family reunions. At the family reunion, nobody points out nobody flaws. They just happy people are there. That's why they had them. For fillers, for parties. Why you think the most baby moms with the most kids always got a party to go to? They're always throwing a party for some kid's birthday. There's always balloons in the back of the fucking car. There's always a wrecked car with balloons in it going somewhere to a fucking party. Because they're leveraging these kids for their own personal gratification. They're not having kids with a plan. They're having kids so somebody say, oh, is this your kid? Oh, it's all cute till they about 13 and 14 years old. Then it's, I don't want you hanging out with that kid. Their parents are fucked up. We ain't got time for that. Next reason. People are stuck in their own ways. All right? I'm stuck in my own ways. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want new friends. I don't want to bring a child into this world that's going to cause me to adjust. I don't want to do none of that. Sorry, I don't. I'm stuck in my own ways. I like waking up. I like filming. I like editing. I like coming up with new ideas. I like walking through the woods. I like bike riding with my woman. I like going on vacation. All that seems fun. Then adjusting. I don't even like crying babies on the plane. Nobody does. Let alone with me waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to go take care of one. Big shout outs to K-Pack with the $5. He says, Anthony on point. These single moms make bad decisions with Cookie and Ray Ray and then regret it later. last relationship was a single mom, stressed as fuck. Exactly. And the downfall about that is they try to, when you first meet them, they try to make it seem like it's okay. Like everything is good. We got it all figured out. Then when you get into the relationship, she been pandering the child their whole life. You're dating her, and here come the child talking to their mom like they ain't shit. Fuck you, mom. And you want to step in and say something to the kid, but you can't. That's what happens. These women go out here and have kids for fun and then got to pander the kid their whole life, and the kid grows up and be a piece of shit, not even learning anything about real life because the mother or the father is ashamed of them. They're left to just pander them. That's what we're living in. It would have been better if the internet didn't have as much as an effect. The kids would still be able to go outside, and the village can still raise the kid. See, when I was growing up, your neighbor can beat your ass. Your mother would have said nothing. The person across the street, the guy that you never talked to before, when he came outside and he says, y'all kids stop doing that, you listen. Because you're like, fuck, that old man don't never come outside. We must be really doing some shit wrong. So you stopped and looked. Now, you being that older parent, you're an older adult trying to tell a kid that ain't yours what to do, you're more likely to get shot. Not only by the kid, but by the parents as well. That's how fucked up it is. The village cannot raise the child anymore. And when you leave the child to be raised by an all-female village, we see what's getting with that. We get hyperactive, emotional men. Hyperactive, hyper-emotional men is destructive. Way more destructive than a stoic man. That's what's been built in society is the internet is telling everyone for the men to get in touch with their feelings. You're supposed to be expressing your feelings. Them feelings is what got you guys fucked up because now you stuck inside of that emotion. When you stuck inside that emotion, you can't go nowhere. Life's going to become discombobulated. That's where we at now. We're in a world of confusion. Everybody that wants to come outside, that wants to live the life, that wants to live up to the expectations of what you're seeing on Instagram or what you're seeing in the rest of the world, you can't. Because society has gave you all the knowledge, but didn't give you the experiences. Why? It don't want you to have the experiences. It needs you to stay inside. All right? Next thing. I feel like having kids now is bad for the environment. I don't think it's good for the environment. I do believe that we're living in the lost generation. All right? This generation that's coming up now, I don't see progression. I don't see anything changing. I don't see nothing good coming out of it whatsoever. We are in the lost generation. This generation coming up would not produce anything good. They're already stressing. They're already 14, 15 years old with the mind of a 40-year-old. When you look at some of these kids, they just look dead. They look like drug addicts. They look like junkies. They're in a comfortable mode. Sex is recreational for them. These girls are getting stretched out left and right. And these guys are getting stretched out left and right. But here's the problem. Spiritual Alpha comes through with the $2. Really appreciate it, bro. He say, salute, Spade. Keep giving them the work. Big shout out. Really appreciate it, my man. This generation is the lost generation. They have no hope. And the reason why they have no hope is because they have nothing to look forward to. Every day, these children will tell you that they want to do something with their life. And you'll notice they're going to stay in the same spot. And the reason why they're going to stay in the same spot is because their attention spans are not going to allow them to focus on anything long enough in order to be successful. This is why everybody's trying to become a millionaire behind the computer. You're not going to become a millionaire behind the computer unless you're a genius online that knows how to work it. But when you have a short attention span, you're not going to take the time out of your life to learn how to get to that point. So a lot of people that are online becoming successful is because they already had a parent or a guardian above them that could hand it down to them. Everybody else in this generation is in a state of confusion. They don't know whether to work, and then when they get work, they're so emotional. The men are not building anymore. They're not building businesses. They're working jobs, buying what they want to look good on Instagram, but struggling behind the scenes. You have way more Hellcats that are getting repoed every day than people that are actually paying those cars off. You have way more people getting evicted from mansions and nice condos than any other place in the world. It's because people are living above their means in order to look good. That's why this is the lost generation. It's because they're not builders. They're not gatherers. They're showcasers. They're entertainers. So all of their money is geared towards going back into the internet to present an image. They're pretty much producers of their own reality show, saving their money to keep the show rolling. That's it. They're living for a show that people are going to watch for 3 seconds. Can you imagine that? You finally got that good check. You've been saving your money. You like, man, I'm about to kill him on Instagram. You take all your money and blow it on that car, blow it on that jewelry, just to take some photos and didn't get that many likes that you thought you was going to get. It's like a content creator taking 10 hours or 2 days to edit a video that gets fucking 5 views. And you start saying to yourself, damn, you put in all this work and all I had to do was just put these 2 words in the title and give you a bullshit thumbnail and they clicking on the easy shit, but I spent 15 hours editing this damn video and got no views. Okay, that's what this generation is doing. They're putting in a hell of a lot of work to present an image that people are only going to see for 3 seconds. Why? Because the attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. But you got to realize they're saving up to emulate what they seen somebody else doing, hoping they could get the same. But by the time they catch up to what the person did to get the views, everybody switched to something new. It's like the Lamborghini Urus. 2 years ago, that Lamborghini Urus was worth $300,000. But this year, it's only worth $200,000. Why? Because the economy changed. Not that many people are buying it, so the value went down. The same thing with the S63 Benz, the G63 Benz. Values kept going down. Value keep going down. Why? Because the change, people change. Now, a fucking Hellcat is going to get way more views than a Lamborghini online, and those are facts. So by the time people save their money to look like the image that they think is working, society has already switched to something else that's trending. That's why this generation is lost. It's a trending situation. It's a trending generation that are trying to get dopamine releases from society that they're not getting in their own home, because in their own home, their parents need attention too. Their parents need a life. So the parent says, I don't want to raise you. You go in the room and distract yourself because I got other shit that I want to do with my life. So now grandma got an Instagram. Mom got an Instagram. Daughter got an Instagram. Daughter got an Instagram. The little baby's got an Instagram. The husband got an Instagram. Everybody in the family is waking up to put on a show for people online. And the people online are the ones who ain't going nowhere, whose parents stuffed them inside the room. So now you have everybody is stuffing themselves inside of a room to impress people who have been stuffed inside of their room and they can't leave. I could tell you the Matrix has created its own audience that it can control by the click of a button, because that's all they know is trends. The elite has set it up for everybody to have a robotic mindset. That way, when they want to shift where the money's going to go, it's easier to shift the belief system. So while everybody online thinks that this is a comfortable way of living, what they're not understanding is the elites at the top are fighting for who can grab the control over everybody that's controllable now. So watch as we get into this election. You're going to start seeing more racism pop up. Just like every election. You're going to start seeing the race war start. Then you're going to start seeing the LGBT war start, because everybody knows the most emotional people stay online the most, seeking gratification. So you're going to have a lot of LGBT and blacks that are stuck online, as well as the bot white kids who are being ignored by their parents, but most of them going on the Republican side anyway. So you have to understand that the brainwashing that's been done to kids make it almost impossible for you to have a child now to think outside the matrix because everybody is being controlled of the matrix. You have to understand this. In the movie The Matrix, there was only 9 red pillars in the entire world. Most of these facts right here in this space, a lot of these introverted kids that's taking on the red pill, the Andrew Tates, these are the guys that ain't going nowhere. You're the people that really hate your parents. You and your parents don't get along at all. What these people are empty vessels. And these empty vessels need to be filled with ideologies. They're searching for a feel. They're searching for an emotion, searching for somewhere to fit in. Why? Because they didn't take the time out to develop a physical connection with the rest of the universe. Most people will be stuck in the matrix for the rest of their life. There's nowhere for them to go. If you wasn't out playing as a kid and grew into society, it's hard for you to go outside as an adult. It's hard for you to walk down the street as an adult. It's going to be hard for you to connect to people as an adult because it's an emotion that you've placed fear on. You have fear in society now. You fear what you've been researching every day is going to happen to you as soon as you go down the street. That's where we're at in society. This is one of the reasons why this is the lost generation. Having children now is bad for the planet because there's nothing for them to do. There's nothing for them to look forward to. The economy is crashing every single day. The world is getting worse and worse and worse every single day. But we're spending most of the time talking about relationships because no matter what happens in society, people still want to be in love. They still want to be in relationships, but what they're not realizing is them days is over. You's a robot. You don't know how to connect emotionally with another human being in order to form a chemistry that's going to last. Everything is robotic. Why you think people going on dates and they're like interviews? What do? You do that. What about that? Huh? I'm fine. I like to go outside. I like to walk on the beach, take lonely walks in the park. People start naming a whole bunch of shit you don't even do with your fucking life. When you go on a date, you're not even doing half the shit that you're responding to. Everything is robotic. You have a robotic mindset, but they want the heart to be in love. All right, last but not least, I just love to get up and go. Ain't got time to wait on nobody. And I told y'all before, I used to date back in the day. I used to tell girls like, yo, listen, ever since the military, the military has a saying, when you're on time, you're late. So I used to tell girls like, yo, listen, with me, I'm a very on time dude. If I say I want to go out on a date at that time, I'm expecting you to be ready. I'm not expecting to come pick you up and then you're like, hey, I need 30 more minutes. I'm gone. Because I gave you enough time to get ready. Now I'm doing it and I'm supposed to I'm gone. I've always been that. And I've cut so many women off by doing that. So in life, I don't have time for kids because when I want to get up and do something, I don't want nobody to slow me down. I don't want nobody to stop me. And I told my girl, this is why we don't live together. It's because when I want to get up and do something, I'm going to fucking get up and do it. And I don't want no one to hold me back. I don't want you to slow me down. Even when it comes to vacation, I don't want to take a lot of people with me on vacation. I don't want to be worried about 5 people, what this person getting ready to do, what you getting ready to do. I'd rather move in small groups. That way we move more effectively and we can get shit done. I don't have to have time to tag on with a kid, man. Like, we're outgrowing that. The more I look at these kids now, the less I want them. If children were still like children, then yeah, but they're not children. These young girls are whores. I'm sorry, but not all. I'm going to say this. Not all. But these girls growing up, these guys that are growing up, how they really made man and woman one hybrid person, I don't see how this is going to work. I see emotions. I see men becoming more emotional, and when you become emotional, you only know how to respond to your emotions by lashing out. When you're stoic, that's the only time where you don't control what's been done to you, but you control how you respond to it. We don't live in a world where people can control how to respond to things that are affecting them. The only thing they do is, oh, my heart's broken. I don't like this, so I'm going to get mad. I disagree, so I'm going to unsubscribe. I'm going to do this, so I'm going to curse them out. I disagree so I can get attention. Everybody is so emotionally fucked up. They only know how to lash out. Why? Because your parents had you without a plan. They had you for selfish reasons. They had you because they, at that point of their life, they wanted to have something to love. But unfortunately, they fucked you up by not having a plan. The plan was, all right, you're past the cute phase. How do I distract them? Give them a cell phone. Give them this. Give them that. And on top of that, we'll belittle them to make sure that they don't do anything to us. That's where we're at. We have an entire generation of children who have been pandered into being bots. And now the parents don't even know the outcome of their kids. You got little teenage girls that are able to tell their mom and dad, I fucked 2 dudes last night and got a train ran on me. And the parents just have to go along with it. The kids now are outsmarting their parents. If you ask me, if you're a parent now, I feel sorry for you. Because you got to work twice as hard to keep them distracted. You have to be brutally honest with your children. I'm talking to people now that have children. You have to start being brutally honest with your children now because you can't talk to them as if they're not seeing shit. You can't. You can't talk to a kid like you don't know they're not watching porn. These kids are watching porn more than anything. You can't talk to a kid like you're watching your mouth. They're cursing more than you. They're watching way more excruciating things than you. And they're emulating the adults. If you have adults that are coming online arguing in groups and panels and fighting with each other, the younger kids on the outside are looking at the adults and they're saying, all the adults are coming online arguing and fighting with each other. That must be what life is supposed to be about. That's what's happening. The parents are trapped inside the matrix as well. And the kids are looking at the parents and saying, you're trapped in the matrix. They're not necessarily saying it, but they start to do robotic shit the same way that their parents are doing because everybody needs attention. I ain't got time to bring in no kids. I see countries I want to go visit. I see mountains that I want to climb. I see art that I want to create. I see money that I can stack. I see happiness in just being alone and keeping it here, keeping my circle small because it's so much distractions of stress and depression out here in the world. And I think that once you find that space, you find that space of happiness now, you have to maintain it. Kids are distractions now because you cannot raise them the way that you want to raise them. You pretty much have to raise them into being a bot. I don't have time to raise my kid into being a bot to where at some point in their life, we're going to have to sit down and start talking about what's really going on here. The lost generation has to surpass. We have to see what is going to be the results of the next generation, which I think that's going to be the generation that takes their own parents out. That's what I see happening here. Because when it's all said and done, when you have a feminine mind and you have weak men and you have weak people, they lash out on people that treat them the best. So most of y'all are going to be cursing your parents out. Not all. Most people are cursing their parents out, disrespecting older people, but then they get around other people and shut the fuck up and fall in play. Because they're scared that that person may knock their teeth out. That's how people are around me. They get around me after watching this shit. When they come around me, they be real like, man, I got to watch out how I talk to Anthony Spade because I watched one of his videos. He said something I didn't like and he got mad. When he got mad, he made a face that scared the fuck out of me. But they go back and treat their parents like they ain't shit. They go back and treat grandma like she ain't shit. That's why I tell a lot of you trolls, before you come up in here trolling, disagreeing for attention, you go fix some shit with your motherfucking parents, nigga. You either coming from an abusive situation and you coming on here trying to treat people the way you've been abused, or your parents chipped you up by stuffing you in a room. They're really nice parents, but you get to curse them out every fucking day because you're online. That's what's happening. All right? That's the end of the lecture. Let's go ahead and get those questions in. Let's get those donations in. And y'all let me know if you like this lecture or not. We just put in a full-grown hour. I got to get my water. If you like the lecture, let me get a one. If you got a video you want me to react to, go ahead and put it inside the link right now. All right, everybody seemed like they liked the lecture. All right, let's go ahead and get those questions in. Jordan 11's in the building. Big shout outs, bro. Big shout out to Be Cautious with the Black Honey. Became a Sigma soldier. Big shout outs, bro. Really appreciate it. All right, Alex Arona, you better have fixed it. You about to get blocked. Big shout out to Jack Frost.
Sweet.
Give him another one. The music was in the way.
Sweet.
My man Jack Frost just came in the building dropping ducats. That's the first baller of the day. Big shout outs to you, dude. He says, been watching your content for a while. Information is improving my life. This here is for the love. Big shout outs, bro. I really appreciate these type of statements because believe it or not, I do go hard. I sit down. I can come off the top of the head with this, but majority of the time I do sit down, plan, think, write an entire script. I have a script right here that I write on the back too. So you have to understand that I'm making sure that when I go to do a live that I'm really touching the people in the way that I want to touch because I want to earn the money. I'm not one of those that want to come on and say, hey, women are bad and this, that, and the society is going and this, that, and the third and tinkle you. I don't want to do that. I like to give people proper breakdowns that you can stop and look at different angles of life and where you resonate with it better. So when you do say stuff like this, I really, 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 really appreciate it, my dude. Regime, the dude with the $5, really appreciate it. He said, as a person with no kids, I feel the optimistic of opportunities to come now and in the near future as far as happiness, focusing on myself. You're absolutely right because one of the main reasons why people want to focus on themselves is because we're living in a world of mental illness. Like, I'm sorry, we're living in a world now where you just don't know. Every day you wake up, you don't know what's going to happen. Things could change because people are battling issues inside. That when you go out in the real world, you'll come across, you can read people's energy. And you would know, like, now, when you start getting 35, 40, you can pretty much walk past somebody and know, like, this person's not happy with themselves. That person's not happy with themselves. Now, the more happy you become with a person, the more you're able to see energies of people that are not happy. It's different when you were not happy and all you did was attract other people that wasn't happy. It gave you a comfort. Some people are comfortable around people that are bad people because that's all they know and they've never been around good people. You know, it's just like if a guy grows up in a gang and that's all he knows, it's hard for him to get out of the gang, which is why you have a lot of guys that are in California, like 45, 50 years old, still gang banging with fucking dreads in their hair. You're like, you didn't want to be nothing in life? This is what you wanted to do? You wanted to really die for a community that's not even yours, that you don't even own? So you have to realize once people's brains have been molded, it's hard for them to break it. This is why I say a lot of people who have been chipped up at a younger age have to fight harder to do the little things in life. You have to fight harder to go to the gym by yourself. You have to fight harder to go out and meet friends. It's because you've been stripped of your street awareness. You're good online. You can spot people online, but street awareness to survive in the real life, that's a different type. You can only get that from experiences. All right, Be Cautious. Be Honey came through with another $2. Big shout outs, my dude. He says, can you please stop referring to me as a male? I didn't know. I don't know if you're a female or not. This is a male channel. So you have to understand that majority of the females that we have, we're used to Jessica. We're used to Gizmo. We're used to Desiree and Alacia. That's it. On this channel, you have to make it known that you are a female because in Sigma Nation, we're used to the same 3 females being here. We're not used to a lot of women popping in and out of here. And I'm not going to apologize for that. It's just that that's how it is. You start letting us know that you're a female and we'll start treating you accordingly. Big shout outs. I really appreciate the $2. But let it be known over here. Our circle of guys that you're seeing on this channel, we're here every day. We're the same people every time I go live. We're the same people every day. So we're all used to each other in this chat. I'm used to seeing the same names. When you come in new to Sigma Nation, let it be known what you are. I don't know. I'm just going off of it, and I'm automatically assuming that you are a guy because we're used to the same 3 type of women. All right, K-Pack with the $20. He comes through and he says, I'm an artist, designer. I realized I wasted so many years chasing women and gained nothing. Now I'm behind my purpose, playing catch up. How do I stay dedicated to my purpose and stoic towards women and BS? Okay, right now you're already in the right direction because you have all of your plays together. All right, you're an artist, which means you're going to always be thinking outside the box, which goes into the fact that you are a designer. So what does that mean? That means that it's hard for you to suffer from depression. When you're an artist, you can always be creative and create dopamine releases to your body, which also would allow you to adjust. So no matter what happens in life, whenever you're feeling down or confused, always revert back to your art. The more you revert back to your art, the better you're going to be, the more you're able to channel how you feel. That's the main thing. I'm an artist as well. And when I go to these art galleries, sometimes people are like, yo, when you go to art, do you looking at it as a good? I say, no. When I go look at art, I can read how that artist felt at that moment. I know if they were angry. I know if they were sad. I know what they were going through. So understand, as an artist, once you start to channel your inner thoughts onto creation, it's easier for you to keep from being depressed. Now, that's what's going to keep you stoic. All right? Stoic people, we think before we react. We don't react off emotions. And I told you guys before, I would allow someone to disrespect me in front of a crowd if I knew lashing out was going to make people think differently of me and I lose all my respect. So you have to understand, you have to know when to pick your battles, and you have to know when to pick your battles. I'll just say that. But when it comes to being dedicated to your purpose, the fastest way to be dedicated to your purpose is to be doing something that you love to do. So you must have a hobby that you love that you're starting to get paid from. If not, you must work your job until your hobbies can be something that starts to pay you. If you're putting more time into a hobby than you are your purpose, I can almost guarantee you it's going to be hard for you to stay dedicated, because at some point you're going to get burnt out from the job. So far as being stoic towards women, just be less responsive to their actions. Because believe it or not, most women are going to look at men as being robots. Like, the power that a woman has that a man don't have is the ability to read you in 5 seconds. That's something a man don't. And the reason why is because a man looks at a woman from a desire point of view at first. The first thing you're going to do, ass, titty, booty's face. No matter what. You can get on here and talk whatever you want. As soon as a man sees a woman, it's ass, titty, booty, and face. You're going to start going through that. So a man has to shake his desires around to getting around to reading her. That's why I say the older you get, You'll be able to look at a woman, this is a biscuit head. She all out here dressed like this, bang, 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 no home training, a whole bunch of makeup on. All right, this is an after 12 o'clock chick. You don't spend no time on her. You'll get to the point where you start reading that type. Once you're able to read the type of woman, that comes from experiences. Now you can be more stoic. You can't be stoic if you're not in control of your desires, because your desires is going to control what comes out of your mouth. This is why you have so many men that can talk that red pill talk, and as soon as they get put around a woman, they back being the guy who can't control himself anymore. It's like, oh, you was tough with your boys, now you're in front of girls, and you don't know how to stop talking, and you go back into simp mode, and she reads you immediately. So understand, stay on your purpose. That's what's going to keep you guided. But when it comes to women, typically you become more stoic the more experiences you have with age. Most guys, 18 through 25, are not going to be stoic. Their testosterone levels are too high. That's why I tell a lot of guys that age, you're going to fuck up. You need to get rejected. You need to get played. You need to catch her cheating. You need to keep doing that. Just like Hitch. Remember Hitch fell in love, the movie with Will Smith, and he became one of the greatest players of all time? Men need to go through that phase. So if you're going through that and it feels like a heartbreak and your life's going to die, just know ultimately you're going to become the best player. So your stoic will come as you learn to control your desires. All right? Once you control your desires, and over here we always say semen retention is the fastest way. Stop jerking off. Go celibate. Don't think about sex. Don't think about pleasing yourself. And I recommend a minimum of 3 months. All right? But those first 2 months are going to be hard. So your first 2 months that you're starting semen retention, you're going to relapse 1,000 times until you actually get it down. Once you get it down and you go that week on semen retention, maintain that for at least 3 months. Your entire brain would change. It will make you more stoic. Majority of guys that do a semen retention become the most stoic of their life than what they have ever been. So that's my advice for that. Big shout outs, bro. Really appreciate the $20. And we got Alex in the zone coming back in for the 5th day in a row. Put some respect on that man's name. Comes in with the $2. He says, what about the legacy aspects of having kids? Only if you've already built a legacy to pass on to them. Like with me, this is how I look at it. When it comes to success, what I've learned, and I've been in Hollywood. You guys know I've been a professional model. I've also been to acting school, and you can see I'm really artistic inclined. You heard my music at the beginning. Okay, I write and produce music. You hear my music. You guys have seen my acting skits. You've seen my modeling portfolio. So you have to understand is that as I went up, as I started to get closer into Hollywood and I started to grow, I started to realize that none of this is based on talent. It's based off of who you could throw underneath the bus in order for you to get to the top. So I realized in my life that I didn't want to be famous because I would have to compete. In order to compete, I have to be willing to backstab somebody to get to the top. So I knew at the top, it's filled with a whole bunch of backstabbers where I did not want to go with my life. So I chose not to continue to chase fortune and fame and chase being an average person. Nor did I want to waste my life gaining a whole bunch of money just to give it to someone else. I kind of feel like the amount of work that I put in with my life, I need to be able to enjoy all of my money. So my goal is to die with $2 in my bank account. My goal is not to die and then give my money to someone that didn't work for it. So I knew in my life I wasn't going to have kids to pass a legacy on to, nor was I going to compete to be a rich person in the world. I am happy being an average Joe that customized cars, ride bikes with his girlfriend, go to Miami 3 times a year to spend time with family and friends, and Los Angeles and travel the world seeing different things. I chose to spend my time doing that. So stop and look at what you're building in your life. Is it going to be feasible for you to have a children to pass down your empire to? Like when you look at Donald Trump, he passed his empire to each one of his children. Each one of his kids got a piece of an empire. They have an empire inside of an empire. That's a legacy. So you have to realistically stop and look at what type of legacy you're leaving behind, because there's plenty of fathers who thought about a legacy that's locked up in jail and they're known as a bummy ass dad, and their daughters are out here getting ran through and their sons are dying in the streets. And it's like, what legacy did you live? Now people look at the whole family as pieces of shit. Like, you left back, you gave birth to 5 kids who amount to shit. Like, look at FBG Duck Mom. You started out with 8 kids and you're down to 3 kids. All your kids died from gun violence. Each year you lost a child to gun violence. That's a bad legacy. So you got to think about your legacy. Where do you want? Do you just want a child to say, hey, that's my legacy. My child's going to be here when I'm gone. That's different than building up an empire and then giving the legacy to your child to run. That's what like Walmarts and all the Targets and all these other companies have done, is they've kept the business inside of their children's name. So actually look at what you're doing with your legacy. That's what I tell all guys, because everybody asks me about legacy. I always say, think about the legacy that you want to leave. I don't want to leave a kid nothing, because I want to spend my money, enjoy my life, and seeing the world, because I'm not going to compete to make enough money to pass down to a child. I've come to the conclusion of that just based off my experiences. So when it comes to having kids for legacy, my advice is make sure you know what you're having a kid for. I don't have a plan for a child. That's why I don't have one. And I'm not having kids for cuteness. I'm not having kids because grandma wants somebody to play with. My mom says it all the time. When you're going to give me a grandchild? Your sisters have already gave me one. I'm like, I don't have a plan. Like they're stressing, not me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, in the world we live in now, most people are just seeking happiness. And I think that once you seek your happiness and you get it, you don't want a distraction from it. That's where I'm at. I don't want to be distracted from this happiness in life that I had to work hard to get to, because I've been distracted by a lot. Hopefully I was able to answer your question on that, dude. Big shout outs, man. Really appreciate it. And that's it. Let me see. He get a wrench? Because you've been showing love. In the zone, been showing love every day. Even though he came with the $2 in the zone, I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator, because the moderators are going to change as soon as I get back from Miami. And we'll start all over again. So right now in the zone, I gave you a moderator wrench because I know I've seen you in here consistently every single day, and I really appreciate it. Salute, bro. We're a small niche over here. We're a really small niche. So when people come in, we do almost see them immediately, and I really catch on really fast. All right, let's see here. Now we getting down into the free questions. All right, on the free questions, we got I Am Classic. He says, do you think the world will eventually hit a dead end and decide to turn back? Is this the highway to hell we're headed into? We're done, brother. We're done. There's not one philosopher or one Bible that has told you that the end game is happiness. No, all of them say the same thing. In the last days, everybody will die. Crime will raise. Everything that you think is good will become bad. Look at this generation. Look at the generation of kids. Nigga, are you fucking kidding me? Look at the generation of parents that are fucked up in the head. They don't know what to do. This is the end, bro. That's why I say, Sigma Nation, I teach you guys to look at life as a circus. Look at life like you're sitting inside of a circus and watch life. Because if you get caught up into these ideologies, you may find yourself willing to die for something you have no control over. And that's what people are doing. They're jumping in and out of these different cults and belief systems that they're trying to say, no, we're right. No, we're right. No, he's right. No, they're right. She's right. No, they're right. And everybody is willing to die for a belief system that somebody else created because they have no identity of their own. That's what's going to cause all of this destruction. It's narcissism amongst people who's taken on ideologies that they didn't create, but was able to give them a mood. So yes, we are headed towards the end. And we see Black Honey says starting in Chicago. Chicago is bad. Memphis, bad too. But Chicago, don't you guys got a purge law going on? I wouldn't even want to be in Illinois. They actually have a purge law to where I guess you don't go to jail at all, something like that. They have a law there. So you have to understand, we don't have enough police officers. Not too many people want to be police officers anymore. And that number is going to continue to shrink if all the mentally ill people keep winning. Don't worry. You're going to see exactly how mentally ill stuff is the closer we get to election. See, election's going to let a whole bunch of shit ride. But this next election is going to get extremely dangerous. I can guarantee you. You always see how bad life is during election time. So in my opinion, we are on the way to highway to hell, which is why I'm not bringing kids into this world. You're going to need a lot of adjustments coming. And trust me, I don't want no tag-alongs with me whenever I go to adjust. And a lot of children are going to be tag-alongs. Keep watching the news. You're about to see parents take their kids out because they're not going to be able to handle the pressures of what's coming. All right? Everybody that's asking a question, you have to understand, put a Q in front of the question so I know what it is. I have a lot going on up here, so I have to be able to distinguish who's who and what's what. If you want to skip the line, the first thing you do is donate. I don't even care how much you donate, for real, for real. I'll answer your question, bro. Big shout outs to the Waggo D channel. He says, I'm 29. When is it too late to have kids? I'm a loser who's never had a girlfriend. Well, you just answered your own question. You shouldn't be trying to have kids if you're a loser. The first thing that you need to do is you need to lose that loser mindset. Because over here at Sigma Nation, we don't do that. I appreciate your $5, but your $5 is not enough for me to go along with this delusion. I'm finna get in your ass. At 29 years old, stop thinking about kids. Stop thinking about a girlfriend. You need to do the little shit. You need to start getting outside. Go outside, walk around in the park, doing things that you've never did before. You got to start familiarizing yourself with the world. Start off cleaning your room, little stuff like that. Start getting where you rest your head together. I tell a lot of people that where you rest your head will determine a lot of what's going on with your life. I do not film in the same place I lay my head because I have to change the energy. So you have to start changing your energy immediately. It's something that took you to the age of 29 that has you not having a girlfriend and not having kids, which means that you have not attempted to do anything with your life. It sounds like you may have been drowning in misery for a while. Okay, now you have to lift that misery off. Start off with the littlest shit in the world. Clean your room. Rearrange your room. Walk outside, smell the fresh air. You guys know I walk through the woods every single day. Why? Because I deal with a lot of stress, but I can channel my stress through art, through creation. I could go walk through the woods. I've learned over time how to channel my stress because everybody's going to go through stress and depression. It's all about how you channel it out so you can get back to happiness. So what you have to do is you're stuck inside of depression. In order to get out of that depression, you have to change the law of attraction around you. Because right now, your energy is attracting the wrong... Hold on. Holy shit. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, I'm back. I just had an emergency on the phone. That's it. Had to straighten out some things. All right, like I was saying, speaking to the guy, he wants to know he's 29 and what he could do. You got to start off with the little stuff, because if you create big goals at this point, you're going to scare yourself off from trying to achieve them. And that's what a lot of people do that are in your position where they're stuck. They want a girlfriend, kids. They just want to live a basic life. Okay, don't set your goals too high now. Don't do it, because you haven't gotten around to figuring those big goals out. You have to start off with the little goal. The little goal now for you to be in this position is to first change your energy up. And another thing you need to understand is it's never too late. It's just making the proper decisions from here, making the right decisions. I want you to first start off cleaning your room. After you clean your room, rearrange your room. And if you got enough money to go get some paint, paint your room an entire different color. You need an entire different feel. I recommend white or baby blue. All right, you need to get away from dark colors. Make things bright. Even put yellow in your room. Get blue. Like my bedroom that I sleep in is all baby blue. I have windows everywhere. I wake up to natural sunlight. That's what you want to get around to doing, is waking up to natural sunlight. So make your room brighter. I recommend baby blue. You get an entire different mood. After that, you got to start smelling the fresh air. So you got to get used to waking up and walking around. Like, you just walking around every day does wonders. And you know where I learned that from? Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said it plenty, like a long time ago. He says, I maintain happiness and I maintain my work ethic because I wake up every day and I just go walk around. I walk around for a little bit and then I get my day started. I started doing that and it works for me. It's always worked for me. You guys see me walking through the woods all the time. Start off with just those goals. As you walk, your brain will start to exercise, and then you'll start to come up with the rest. I can't tell you the rest if you're still in a state of depression. When people are in states of depression, there's nothing that you can tell them, because depression is a chemical release. It's not a psychological release. It's a chemical release to your body to make your body feel like it can't go forward. You got to fix that chemical release in order for you to think straight. I always tell people, life is like Shutter Island. The internet is like Shutter Island. Most people are Leonardo DiCaprio. You're only going to know that you're a patient in the Matrix when you try to leave it. So understand, you got to put the phone down. Because most people, when they put that phone down, they realize they can't get off of it. So you got to start breaking that addiction. Because every day when I get done going live, I don't look at my phone for the rest of the day. I have someone that takes care of my social media. If you are talking in chats and groups and you think it's me, it's not me. Someone else is running my social media. So understand, I'm a true advocate of getting out, walking around, smelling fresh air, drinking a lot of water. Get on a diet. Maybe cut the carbs out. Let's start off cutting the carbs out. I wouldn't say cut the meat out and go vegan. I'll probably say cut the carbs out. But at your level, do not set big goals. Trying to set big goals while you're still in a depression state of mind is only going to scare you apart, and you're going to think that goal is too far-fetched because you haven't even gained the confidence to accomplish that goal. You're just telling yourself to go. Telling yourself and working towards it is two different kind of energies. Start off with the main energy. I need you to first write this down. Learn to get off the phone. I want you to start off with little shit. A half hour throughout the day. Every day at 1 o'clock. I want you to turn the phone off. And then I want you to pick it back up at 1:30. The next day, I want you to do the same thing. The week after that, I want you to turn the phone off at 1 and then pick it back up at 2. I don't want you to try to do it all at once because it's going to scare you off. Little shit at a time. But you have to get used to putting the phone down and allowing your brain to think in real time. The internet takes you away from real time. You need to be operating in real time, and it'll help you to come up with goals and dreams. Leave kids out of the equation. Leave women out the equation because women brains are moving way faster than men brains now. So you have to catch up to a woman's psyche. Women are moving extremely fast because their manipulation has been done differently than men's manipulation. Men's manipulation has programmed them to being weak guys that sit around and don't have any vision because they're taught just to worship women. They're taught just to be nice to women. But the women's brainwashing on the Matrix has been outdo a man, outwork a man. So you have more women that are willing to get out and go work and get what they want because they've been programmed to do that. You have to catch up to that. We're not living in the days anymore where a lot of dudes who ain't got nothing going on can get a woman. Them days is over with. Nowadays, you have to match a woman's energy and go higher to be respected. That's just how it is. In order to get around to that, you must first start off with the little stuff. Watch your time on the internet. In life, you're only going to go as far as the person that you talk to for no reason. But you also got to realize species who fail to adapt will go extinct. You don't make an adapt, you'll eventually fade out. Hopefully I was able to answer your question, big dog. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see if we have any other questions up here. And that was Why Go D channel. All right. Okay, Enos comes in with a question. He says, what are your thoughts on an archaic government in today's generation? Are people truly moral? Would women survive? What are your thoughts? The women will, in the state of the world that we live in now, women are already set to survive because the energy is already in their nature. We got to get the men back up right. The men have probably taken the biggest hit in these societies. Women are taking the hits morality-wise. They have to do more to compete with other girls. So they have to become moralists because a lot of guys are attracted to sex. So women become moralists because they have to incorporate sexual things for attention. Less clothes, porno-style lifestyle, things like that get attention from men. That's the morality side of women. But far as like control and power, women have that. They have the control and the power because there's a lot of guys giving it up because they can't control their desires. So you have to understand, the women are winning regardless because men are outnumbered by men who cannot control their desires. We can sit here and say what we ain't going to do, but a woman don't see our lifestyle. She don't see me. She looks at men as a whole. And men as a whole to her only think with their dick. So right now, he says what? So right now, in my opinion, when it comes to life itself, hold on, man. Now you throwing this. Enos question. Enos, where's your question at, bro? Like, who are you answering? I'm trying to communicate with him. So when it comes to women, women are going to survive. When it comes to men, we have to get men back up to date to take the power back. We're not in a position to where men can take the power back. That's what we have to build up to. All right, let's see here. Question, Joseph Kingdom. He says, why do women want kids? Is it is it to trap the man? I guess that's what you're trying to say. Or is it to really start a family? Women naturally want to have kids. They're designed to do it. Humans are designed to have kids. Mammals are designed to have kids. That's just how life has always operated. Women have always wanted kids. What we're under is the matrix has just reprogrammed to brains to think selfishly. Everybody naturally wants to have kids. Everybody naturally wants to have sex. But we're living in a psychological world where the matrix has changed the brains of people that made it harder to connect to do that. That's what's happening. Women are going to always have kids. People are going to want to always have kids. But you're going to have less men that want to have kids, but it doesn't mean that they're going to stop having kids. You have guys in the Middle East right now that got 11 wives with like 21 kids. Like, people are going to always be giving birth. Women are going to want to always give birth because it's natural for them to do it. And then on top of that, they're always in position to where they can give birth. There's always a man that wants to sleep with them. It's going to always be a man that wants to have children. Just because I've made this decision with my life doesn't mean that you have to make the same decisions with your life. That's what a lot of guys have to understand. Even though you're watching me, I'm not the end-all tell-all. You're still the end-all tell-all. You still got to make the decisions what you want to do. I'm just talking. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you understand that part. Wow, that's how I work, and I agree. He says, I work with kids, and I agree. These kids decide when they want to stay home. Yeah, the way these kids are now, I don't know. I be feeling sorry for the kids because they don't even see what's going on. I still be seeing black dudes walking around with a mask on, and I be saying to myself, like, y'all still wearing masks in public? All right, we got the lights up. Show me some love on the donations. Let's get the donations up. Let's go ahead and get some more questions in there. Let's see what else we got. All right, looks like we may be coming to the end of the lecture. It's been 2.5 hours. All right. Looks like we done ran out of questions. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to go ahead and close down the live. I may be back later on tonight. I don't know yet. I know I said it last night, but I do want to get some. I do want to get some call-ins. It's just that I'm getting so close to vacation time. I'm starting to really just monitor my actions at this point. So I want to thank everybody that came out, and I want to thank everybody that donate. Let me go ahead and do the rundown of the donations here. All right, big shout outs to the Waddle D channel. He gave the $5. Alex in the zone. Black Honey's in the building. K-Pack. Read the Dude. Jack Frost. Spiritual Alpha. K-Pack again. Jordan 11. Enos. Gabe Smith, the regular dude. Sigma 6. Gabe Smith, Silver Lion. Fave Music, the regular dude again. Angel Torres, big shout outs, bro. He came through with $70 today. Big shout out to that dude. Angel Torres came through today. He was the baller of the day. Air Max 29, one of the first ones to donate. And Xavier. MMD came through with the $2. Really appreciate it, MMD. He says, making a drum covers be smooth. And big shout outs, my man. He said, making drum covers? All right, I'm going to have to check that out on your channel. All right, let's see here. Enos, all archeries will create a cycle. The way I see it is, when it comes to life, play the game of life. With me, one thing about life is we don't have no control over life. We can't change any laws. We can't change anything as just regular humans. We can't do that. As regular people living a day-to-day life, there's nothing we can change. The only thing that we can do is adjust to what happens. We cannot control what happens to us. We can only control how we respond to it. So everyone needs to start paying attention to how they respond to things that happen versus trying to complain and nag about what's happening because we can't change it. We just have to adjust. And trying to think you can change can make you very emotional in life. All right, so everybody comment, like, subscribe. I may be back. If I do, it'll be later on to like 8 or 9 if I do come back live. And we may have some fun. We had some fun the other day. So comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista. Enos says, see you in Miami. Big shout outs, bro. Hasta la vista.